whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, Since thou art laid down, no further is come up against us. The glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, and the box together, to beautify the place of my sanctuary. And I will make the place of my feet glorious.
Because the Lord is going to restore everything. You're going to have a total different vibration on the earth, a total different smell. You're not going to be walking down the street and smell shit and piss, you know, and no foul odors or nothing like that, because the lungs of the earth are going to be given back to it, which is all these trees and all of these flowers, and it's going to be a whole total different vibration. You know, you're going to see the aura and how things are going to change and how elevated things are going to be. Our senses are going to be heightened, you know? Everything about us is going to be glorified.
For behold, I create new heavens and a new earth, and the former shall not be remembered, nor come into mind. But be ye glad and rejoice forever in that which I create. For behold, I create Jerusalem a rejoicing, and a people a joy. And I will rejoice in Jerusalem, and joy in my people. And the voice of weeping shall be no more heard in her, nor the voice of crying. There shall be no more thence an infant of days, nor an old man that hath not filled his days. For the child shall die 100 years old. But the sinner, being 100 years old, shall be accursed. And they shall build houses and inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and eat the fruit of them. They shall not build, and another inhabit. They shall not plant, and another eat. Whereas the days of a tree are the days of my people, and mine elect shall long enjoy the work of their hands. They shall not labor in vain, nor bring forth for trouble, for they are the seed of the blessed of the Lord, and their offspring with them. And it shall come to pass that before they call, I will answer, and while they are yet speaking, I will hear. The wolf and the lamb shall feed together, and the lion shall eat straw like the bullock, and dust shall be the serpent's meat. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, saith the Lord.
The Lord said that on the Heavenly Father's right hand there are pleasures evermore. And it says that I have not seen, neither ear heard the things which the Lord hath prepared for them that wait for him. You know, there's a whole another world of greatness that awaits us when the kingdom of heaven is established. It's not seen in this society. In this society, we only see carnal things that reason offers in this society. But when the kingdom is established, the Lord is going to open us up to a whole nother world, you know, of pleasure, of knowledge, of wisdom, understanding, you know, just, I mean, can't even be put into words, you know, because our imagination only goes but so far.
Barakatah Yahweh Shah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to us younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. All right. And going into another morning news and prophecy. All right. And the collapse is already underway. You know, the collapse is already happening. It's been happening. Okay. These devils, all right, up top, you know, these elite bankers, okay, have been dismantling, you know, this system for a while. All right. And what we're seeing now is just they sped things up. Okay, and they're taking bigger chunks, okay, out of this old structure. Okay, they're hacking away. You see, so in the midst of this, what you're going to have is a lot of confusion. You know, in the midst of this devil, you know, dismantling his society and wanting to transition into, you know, a new one, all right, a new global system, a digital system, you're going to see a lot of confusion, you know, which causes anxiety, you know, and he's wearing people down, as we talked about yesterday, all right, through this psychological war of attrition, okay, which is wearing people down because he wants people to be broken and to tap out, okay, and to give in to his new world order. Okay, so what you're going to see is people being pulled all over the place with all these different stories, with all these different narratives, with this new distraction, this new thing. I seen something the other day. I didn't even click on it. You know, I'm like, God damn. You know, said Obama trying to take back the White House, and it's just all over the place. Okay, and it's all meant to just wear and grind down the minds of the masses to the point of submission. You know, because that's a tactic of Satan. Matter of fact, which this is let's go here. Now this is dealing with Satan, all right, wanting to overthrow, you know, the believers. Okay. But when you look, but when you look at that word, I'm gonna get it in the Greek. Yeah, so you go here to the book of Luke, chapter 22, and verse 31. It says, and the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan have desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. Okay? Now, this reveals a tactic of Satan. Okay, now this is speaking of, you know, how Satan, you know, he's always trying to overthrow the faith of the believers. Well, what's a tactic? When you go into this word sift, how does Satan try to do that? Okay? And if Satan is doing this to the believers, okay, he's attempting to do this to believers. Well, what's happening to those that don't believe? Let's go to his word.
Strong's G 4617, Siniazo. Siniazo.
Okay, which means to sift, to shake, and to sheave, figuratively by inward agitation to try one's faith to the verge of an overthrow. Okay, so if Satan is trying to do this to the believers, okay, what do you think the children of Satan, these Edomites, are doing to the masses, man? Okay, because he's just shifting and shaking them all over the place, man. All right, to break them. You know, he's traumatizing, all right, the masses with all this back and forth. Okay, it's intentional to cause an inward agitation, man, to the point to where they just tap out. Okay, to whether you're ready to just crash out and purge, or you're just ready to get on your knees and beg this man, all right, for this new world order. Okay, so we're in the point where we're going to see a lot of confusion, okay, and a lot of instability, a lot of uncertainty, okay, and now we're seeing, okay, the value of being built on a rock, okay, Yahushua. Okay, now we see the value in it, because these people don't have a chance, okay, against what this devil is doing to them, you know, and he's just breaking them down. Okay, he's taking them this way, he'll take them all the way over here, then take them all the way over there. You know, he give them hope, take the hope away, give hope again, take it away. You see, and it's just causing an inward agitation, man, to where these people, they're at the point that they just want to tap out, man. You know, anything to make it stop. Okay, that's the point that he's pushing the masses to. Okay, that's why even when you go here, and then we'll go into the video. I got two videos I want to get, you know, dealing with the snap update, and then going into, you know, the overall, okay, spectrum of this thing. All right, being over. It's in collapse already. This place is already in collapse. You see, it's pretty much it's like a car. You know, you can be going 70 miles per hour, Okay, and you just let out the gas, well, that car gonna roll for a minute. And that's the stage that this system is in. It's just rolling. There's nothing driving. Okay, there's no force pushing. Okay, the economy, the society, it's just rolling on all momentum that has built up. All right, it's just rolling on all that built up momentum. You see, and that built up momentum, all right, it's finna come to all right to stop. You see, so let's go here. All right, to the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 5 and verse 1. It says, nevertheless, as coming the tokens, behold, the days shall come that they which dwell upon the earth shall be taken in a great number, and the way of truth shall be hidden, and the land shall be barren of faith. Okay? Shall be barren of faith, because these people, everything that they believe in this system, their 401k, their good job, you know, I ain't heard that in a while. I got a good job. Cause nigga, you don't know if you're gonna have a job or not. You know, they used to be, you know, especially Jake used to say with their chest, I got a good job. Okay. You don't hear that too much. Okay. So everything that these people, all right, have built it on, put their faith in, have leaned into, okay, is being dismantled right before them, man. You know? So the elites is taking away everything that these people believe in. Okay, and this place is gonna be barren of faith, because everything that people trust in is getting ready to fail them, man. Okay, this is what we at. All right, everything that these people believe in is finna fail them, man. The only thing that's gonna stand is gonna be Yahweh Shai. When this is all said and done, the only thing that's gonna stand, all right, the only thing that's gonna be unmovable, okay, is Yahweh Shai. Everything else is finna collapse. Okay, why you people are leaning on it, so it's gonna be a hard fall. You know, imagine leaning on the wall and then that wall disappear. You know, and you're gonna dedicate all your weight, all right, to that wall. You got full faith that that wall is just gonna be there. Okay, well, the elites are getting ready to snatch the whole wall away that you people lean on. Okay, and it's gonna be a hard fall. You see? Let's go here real quick, Matthew 24. You know, Matthew 24 and as a matter of fact, 32. Start at 32. It says, Matthew 24 and 32, it says, now learn a parable, all right, of a fig tree. When his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, you know that summer is nigh. So likewise ye, when you shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors. Okay, these things are near. We seeing all prophecy budding in the earth. Okay, Jacob trouble, it got buds now. And see, it's done broke the ground. It's visible now. See, when you plant a seed, you can't see that seed for a while. And then it begins to break the ground. Okay, you can see a little twig, and then it starts to what? Get taller. Okay, then you see buds, and then okay, it's very recognizable now. Okay, and what's happening with these prophecies, everything is becoming very recognizable now. Okay, you see it's done broke the ground, it's visible, and now it's starting to just bud out. Jacob trouble, famine, the MOTB, World War III. Now all these things have broken the ground to where they're visible now. Okay, which shows us what we at. All right, verse 34. Verily I say unto you, these generations shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. And this is that generation. Ain't no doubt about it. This is that generation in which these things are going to be fulfilled. You know, and we believe that wholeheartedly, man. Verse 35 says, heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. Okay, so everything that this man has established within his rulership, his heaven, okay, the current earth, how it's being ran, and the pollution and the filth, the earth is in a sick state. All that's finna pass away. Okay, and the earth is going to be refreshed. It's going to be cleansed, you know, through this destruction. Okay, Esau's rulership is going to be removed, and everything that this man established is going to be removed. Okay, so let's go here. Just get a quick update. You know what they got going on. All right, with the snaps. You know. All right, so this was from yesterday. All right, so they supposedly reached some type of, agreement with the contingency funds. That was in the budget of the agriculture, all right, department, and now they've decided to roll out, all right, a partial payment. But now the thing is the process of getting this partial payment out. All right. and this is part of this nigga just having you, because you hear, okay, they decided on something, they coming out. So now your hopes up. So now you're not understanding the process that they finna go through. And it's all done intentional to make it seem as if they're trying, to do right by people. Okay. But they running into difficulties. Okay. So let's go here. Let's play this.
Well, we have some good news, and this is good news for millions and millions of Americans. The Trump administration has just announced they will be sending out SNAP benefits starting today. But the problem is they're only going to be sending out 50%. I'm going to explain more of this in just a moment, but this is really good news temporarily. At the end of this video, I'm going to give you a warning from somebody that works within this program here in Washington State. I'm going to explain what's going on, why they are extremely concerned, but they're happy that almost 1 million Washingtonians are going to be receiving SNAP benefits in the next few days. So let's go over this. Look at this right here. It says SNAP update. Trump admin will pay 50% of food stamp benefits in November amid the shutdown. Okay, how did they come up with 50%? Well, I'm going to show you that in just a second, but first, I want to play this clip.
It's so easy to become a podcaster with Riverside. You just need a concept and a way to record it. Here's how it works.
Food assistance funding is supposed to be distributed today, despite the White House saying it actually would not because of the government shutdown. You see, 2 federal judges ruled Friday the Trump administration has to dip into a contingency fund to make this happen. In a social media post, the president said he asked his lawyers to get clarification from the court about how to legally fund SNAP benefits. And the transportation secretary says the shutdown...
Okay, now, how are they going to fund SNAP benefits? Well, they're using contingency funds. I want to read this to you. Look at this right here. It says, the Trump administration told a federal judge on Monday that it will comply with the court order to fund U.S. food aid benefits for November during the government shutdown, but only at 50% of the amount that eligible households normally receive. Says a U.S. Department of Agriculture official also warned the court that it could take some states anywhere from a few weeks up to several months to recalculate household benefit amounts and implement the partial payment.
So now, okay, they saying to calculate, all right, these partial payments that they will have to go in, okay, people will have to resubmit particular information, and you will have, people will have to see, okay, who's getting what's 50% of what. Okay, Ocean's a shit show. All right. And also this can be another reason that they can say, well, if we had AI in place, okay, AI can run this whole administration. Okay. So this could be also a play to get AI to just fully take over all government benefits. Okay. And when AI takes over something, that's a part of the microchip infrastructure. Whatever AI, okay, takes over, whatever AI has governance over, that's going to be, all right, a part of the AI infrastructure, okay, that you're going to be linked with if you take the MOTB. Okay, they're rolling out AI infrastructure, okay, because that's what you're going to be merged with when you take that device. Okay, so this can be another way, okay, of turning, cause this finna be a shit show. The way he's explaining it, he's gonna explain some more. This gonna be an absolute shit show, man. Okay, and they can blame the old system, the old, human factor with administration. AI will have this done in seconds if this was AI. Okay, so don't be surprised if that's a solution. All right, for this whole fiasco. Okay, so let's play this some more.
Here's the problem. The Trump administration is sending out this money, but what they're also doing is they're trying to fulfill the administrative side as well. Look at this right here. It says the U.S. Department of Justice said the USDA is complying with U.S. District Judge John McDonnell's order and will fulfill its obligation to expend the full amount of SNAP contingency funds today. But while the administration said it would fully deplete the $5.25 billion in contingency funds, it would not use other funding that would allow it to fully fund SNAP benefits for 42 million Americans, which costs $8 billion to $9 billion per month. Here's the key. That money, that $5.25 billion, is not all going out to SNAP beneficiaries. Look at this. It says the administration said $600 million would be used to fund states' administrative costs in administering SNAP benefits, leaving $4.65 billion that will be obligated to cover 50% of eligible households' current allotments. The $5.25 billion was roughly about 54% of what we needed. So we are going to take about 4%, and that's going to go to cover the administrative cost. According to one person with very good insight as to what is happening, there is concerns within multiple states that it's going to take longer to determine how much people actually receive. Here's the problem. The administration, the Trump administration has made it very clear that you have to go and refile. You have to make sure you're working X amount of hours per week, or you're going to school, or you're doing something, right, to show that you're part of the community to receive these benefits. Well, the federal government has been closed. Here's the issue. People that are supposed to clarify and pretty much file additional paperwork to show and prove that they should be receiving X amount of dollars, and here's why. Well, there's an issue because, again, the government's closed. People could be receiving payments that they shouldn't actually get. Here's the problem. Others may not receive payment because they need to pretty much file this paperwork, and it needs to be processed. That may not happen when the federal government is closed. And then the fact of the matter is this: the federal government is going to pay 50% of your benefits. That's going to cover you for maybe 2 weeks. It's going to cover you for half a month. But what happens after that? That's the big problem. I want to play another clip, and then in a moment, I want to read you this warning from somebody that's working within the SNAP.
Okay, what if instead of cutting your credit cards in half and continuing having to pay them off, you could
program? But watch this first.
The Trump administration has to pay these SNAP benefits. Now, that judge gave the administration until today at noon to say whether they were going to pay the full benefits using the partial benefits using the contingency funds, or pay full benefits using additional funds to supplement that contingency fund. Regardless, the judge said you have to pay using those contingency funds. So we just heard now at that noon deadline from the federal government saying we are going to pay with the contingency funds to cover partial SNAP benefits beginning today. So now they'll begin that process trying to figure out how they're going to pay partially to cover SNAP for the month of November.
Keep in mind, and I'm going to play the rest of this for you in a second. Keep in mind, states are going to be slow getting this money out, okay? Because they can't just go in and say, oh, let's just cut it to 50%. No, they don't have that. The federal government has never had to do that. Okay? And in entire existence of SNAP, we've never had to issue partial payments. That's where it's becoming an issue. Okay? And again, the federal government shut down. There are some people that are not working. Okay? These people may have to be called into work in order to do these different tasks. But guess what? People are not coming in. People that are supposed to work for the federal government that are deemed essential are calling out sick. And why wouldn't they? Why would they not call out sick? They're not getting paid anyway. That's the problem. Keep listening.
That means that these people probably won't get their benefits today. That means that the federal government will start the process of sending out these calculations of how much each state is going to get for these partial benefits today. And it's probably going to be a lapse of a couple of days before real people are actually getting these benefits. But this is something that the federal government was really concerned over last week. Specifically in that Boston hearing, when I was in court, they were making the case that it would be, quote, catastrophic if they had to do this, because they were concerned about how they would do the math to figure out exactly how much each state gets, where it goes. Remember, this has never been done before. SNAP benefits have never been suspended before during a shutdown, including the one during the president's first administration. So we are kind of in uncharted territory, but a judge is saying you have to start doing this, and the federal government has said we are going to comply and we will start doing these partial benefits today.
Yeah, man. So like she said, people that actually have to, do their paperwork, okay, and deal with, all right, the distribution of those funds. So this is that see, Esau had these systems set up that's not built to do this, and they know this, okay. But you watch this devil, all right, bring up the AI as a solution, just like with all those plane crashes, okay, that was happening. All right, what was the solution to the plane crash? The AI, okay. So he's pretty much sabotaging, this whole system. Okay, it's being insufficient. All right, they knew exactly what they were doing when they said, "Well, look, just send out 50%." But now all that has to be recalculated. And imagine how to do that case by case, state by state, because the feds got to figure out, okay, how much money each state should get. Then the state got to figure out how much money each person should get. Okay. And like the people that work there, that know their process, they said this gonna be catastrophic, man. And then the people that do this are not being paid. So who's gonna come manage a shit show for free? Okay. So it's gonna be interesting to see how it play out, man. Just wanted to update, dealing with that, this devil here, man, this nigga is all over the place. All right. So let's go here. I think the brother. Yeah, let's go here. All right, this the brother Kazak Bon Yahweh. Proverbs 4:16 said, "For they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away, unless they cause some to fall." Man, the devil is always up to some type of mischief, some type of scheme and scam and agenda. Okay, in the earth, man. All right, he's all about the destruction of people. Okay, he's all about getting more power into himself, okay, and being a tyrant over the masses, man. Let's get this. Isaiah 30:3 said, "Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be ashamed, and the trust of shadow," all right, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt, your confusion. Because if you're trusting in this man's system, okay, if all your hope, all your faith is in this man's system, you're confused as hell, man. You don't know what's finna happen. Okay, and each day getting closer, Jake thinking about the Thanksgiving, Jake thinking about that, then the EBT, the money that they used to make off of from selling some of them to do this and that. See, this is turning out, okay, to be catastrophic, man. Each day that go by is gonna get worse. Okay. So we're going to see how they play this one out, man. But it's looking like they're dragging this thing out. Okay, just from this latest report, it can turn here and there, but it's looking like they plan to drag this thing out. And then they can say, well, then also they can say, well, look, we don't use all the money, so ain't no more money left. Okay, and that $5 billion that's supposed to be for those partial payments, look, they tied up. And they can drag on to next month to where now the money is depleted. Ain't nothing to get from nowhere. Okay, so it's looking like a recipe for disaster, man. You know, but he's just laying it on, you know, softly, as if he's really trying to do something about it. Okay, this federal judge blocks it and this and that. Okay, here it is. Trump is going to war with nation without Congress approval. You think that, you know, he's listening to a judge, okay, that he appointed? Okay, this man is going to war, all right, doing airstrikes, okay, on sovereign nations without Congress approval. You think, all right, that the judge can tell him what to do, all right, with food stamps? Okay, hell no. All right, so let's go from there. I got another video. You say the collapse, you know, is already in progress. Okay, and then even bigger than just the stamps, they're just a part of it. All right, but the whole overall system, okay, is being, all right, is under controlled demolition. Okay, so let's play this.
Something is breaking in America. Not slowly, but all at once. The nation that once produced half the world's wealth now carries over $37 trillion in debt, more than its entire economy. 1 in 5 households can't afford groceries without credit. The middle class that built skyscrapers in suburbs is vanishing, while tents rise in their shadows. The dollar trembles, cities hollow out, and the world quietly turns away. This isn't just another downturn, it's a historic unraveling. Every sign, from collapsing tourism to soaring foreclosures, whispers the same truth. America is no longer unshakable, it's breaking. For decades, the American dollar was the foundation of global trust. Today, that trust is fracturing. The United States carries $37 trillion in national debt, and interest payments alone are now larger than the entire defense budget. Every minute, the nation adds nearly $120 million in new debt, a ticking clock echoing across Wall Street and Washington.
Are you looking to establish your business using an address other than your home? Wish you had a professional...
The bond market, once America's safest asset, is now trembling, with foreign buyers quietly stepping back. Nations from China to Brazil are trading in their own currencies, signaling a slow but historic retreat from the dollar's dominance. Inflation may have eased on paper, but reality tells a harsher story. The average American household now pays $1,162 more per month for the same essentials they bought in 2020. Real wages are stagnant, savings have evaporated, and credit card balances have hit an all-time high of $1.14 trillion. This isn't prosperity, it's survival on borrowed time. The Federal Reserve calls it stabilization, but it feels more like managed decline. Every empire's collapse begins not with invasion, but with overconfidence in its currency. When faith in the dollar cracks, everything else follows: the housing market, job stability, even political unity. The rest of the world can see it. BRICS nations expanding, global reserves shifting, gold accumulation hitting record highs. America's greatest export, its financial credibility, is now its most fragile product. This economic erosion is not isolated. It's the first domino in a chain reaction. When money weakens, housing collapses. When people can't buy homes, consumer spending falls. When cities lose revenue, jobs vanish. And when jobs disappear, nations lose faith. What we're witnessing isn't just a financial downturn. It's the systematic unraveling of a global power built on debt, illusion, and denial. The question is no longer if the dollar will stumble, but what collapses next when it finally does. As the dollar weakens, the foundation of American life, homeownership, has become an illusion. The median home price has surged surged past $431,000. Median household income able to reach $59,000. An annual income of over $115,000 just to afford an average house. With mortgage rates sitting above 7.5%, the dream of ownership has transformed into a lifetime of rent. For millions, a 30-year loan no longer means security. It means servitude. More than 80% of renters say they can't afford to buy a home within the next 5 years. The number of rent-burdened households, those paying over 50% of income on rent, has reached a record 22 million. Even as wages stagnate, rents have soared 27% since 2020. Meanwhile, institutional investors, Wall Street landlords, now own more than 20% of all single-family rentals, converting the housing market into an extractive machine that feeds on the very people it once served. The consequences ripple outward. Construction slows as borrowing costs climb. Small builders go bankrupt while large developers hoard supply to manipulate scarcity. Real estate taxes climb, yet public services deteriorate. This isn't a housing cycle, it's a structural collapse. The so-called soft landing is a fairy tale told by policymakers who don't live in the world they've priced out. And it's not stopping here. Rising defaults are already pushing the next crisis into motion. The Mortgage Bankers Association reports delinquencies increasing in 38 states, while the average American homeowner's equity is shrinking for the first time since 2012. The housing sector, once the heartbeat of American wealth, is now a trap. When the curve erodes, the market follows. When the market breaks, collapses. What remains is a generation forced to rent forever, cities filled with vacant luxury towers, and a nation where property no longer represents progress, but proof of exclusion. The housing mirage has faded, revealing the same truth that haunts the economy itself. America's foundation isn't solid anymore. It's cracking beneath the weight of its own illusion. The illusion of stability has finally shattered. Across the nation, foreclosure filings have surged 22% in 2025, the highest rate since the aftermath of the 2008 crash. In states like Florida, Illinois, and Ohio, 1 in every 800 homes is in default. Adjustable rate mortgages that once seemed manageable have turned lethal as monthly payments jump by hundreds of dollars. The era of cheap credit is gone, and millions are being crushed beneath its return. More than 340,000 households entered some stage of foreclosure in the first half of the year, with banks repossessing properties at a pace not seen in over a decade. Behind each number lies an economy built on debt dependency, families refinancing to survive inflation, then collapsing under rising interest. Credit delinquencies are up across every category: car loans, student debt, credit cards. The chain reaction is spreading through the system, tightening liquidity and choking growth. This isn't a correction, it's a breakdown. Mortgage applications are at a 28-year low, housing inventory is stagnant, and even cash buyers are stepping back. The so-called resilient consumer narrative has disintegrated. Homeownership is now fueling financial contagion. With every foreclosure, property values decline, local tax bases erode, and small towns lose their single biggest investment. Their belief in recovery collapses with it. The markets sense it, investors sense it, and now the public does too. The housing mirage has become a debt graveyard, and the closure wave is only the beginning. From currency erosion to home decay, the pattern is unmistakable. The system is unraveling layer by layer, each collapse feeding the next.
Tone, why should people join us for the AI Advantage Summit?
It's good commercial,
isn't it?
That's the question. It's pretty.
And as financial foundations crumble, another silent casualty emerges: America's image abroad. Because when a nation can't protect its own homeowners, the world stops trusting its promises. That's why America's global image is collapsing alongside its economy. The once vibrant tourism industry, a $181 billion pillar of national revenue, has entered freefall. International arrivals are down 8.2% this year, and spending has plunged to $169 billion, erasing over $12.5 billion from economy. Canada, the largest source of visitors, has cut trips by 37%, while major airlines such as Air Canada and Delta are slashing U.S. routes. What was once the most desired destination on Earth now stands as a cautionary tale of bureaucracy, inflation, and hostility. The $442 visa cost, one of the highest globally, has turned America into a premium brand nobody wants to buy. Visitors from India, Brazil, and China are choosing Europe, Mexico, and the Caribbean instead. Global travel councils confirm that the United States is the only nation. Empty hotel rooms, idle tour buses, and shuttered restaurants echo through every state that once thrived on foreign guests. But the consequences are not just financial, they are symbolic. Tourism represents trust, and trust is vanishing. Cities like New York, Las Vegas, and Orlando downgraded forecasts by billions, anticipating fewer visitors even during peak seasons. For a nation preparing to host the 2026 FIFA World Cup and the 2028 Los Angeles Olympic, this trend is catastrophic. If perception doesn't change, stadiums, overpriced hotels, visa delays, and global describing a once open nation struggling to its guests. Tourism it's a mirror. It reflects how the world feels about you. And the reflection staring fear, fatigue.
And this is all prophecy, man. You know? So the collapse is already in progress. You know, people that know, you know, economy, they know, okay, things, okay, are only getting worse. You know, and they know that it's an outside entity that's pushing this. Okay? They know that this is being controlled and this is done intentionally, man. So the collapse is already underway, you know. So the snaps, the government assistance, the middle class, okay, you know, the economy in general, people not being able to afford, you know, life anymore. You know, these things are being intentionally done. You know, so whether you are fully dependent, okay, on this man's assistance, okay, or you're dependent on this system, this economy, it's all going to fail. You know, it's all going to collapse. Okay. And see, let's go here. The brother got this. Yep, this is brother Kazak Bun Yahweh. Isaiah 24:8. It said, the mirth of Tabor ceaseth, the noise of them that rejoice ended, the joy of the harp ceaseth. Okay, because that vibrant, you know, party life, you know, that abundance that America, you know, has enjoyed for decades, where it's coming to an end. You see, people are having to choose, you know, whether to put gas in the car, okay, or a meal for the day. You see, people had to people are going to survival mode. See, when you had abundance, when everything, you know, your overhead, you know, your income was taking care of your overhead with a little bit left over to play with. See, them days is over. See, every penny count now. Okay, it's getting down to the time where every penny counts. Okay, and these industries are going to continue to fail, you know, as people don't have the spending power that they once had. Okay. And it says, verse 9 said, they shall not drink wine with a song, strong drink shall be bitter to them, okay, then drink it. Okay, because people are not going to be drinking in mirth, okay, to you know, enhance, you know, the atmosphere that they're in. Okay, you see that? Doing the Tootsie Roll on Beale Street and Bourbon Street, okay, with a 2 foot tall, you know, margarita, a daiquiri. Nah, that's okay. You're gonna be people gonna be drinking what they do have left. because of misery and depression. Okay, so the whole atmosphere is changing. All right, in America, and it's due to this control collapse that these elites have. Okay, in progress, man. Okay, it said the city of confusion is broken down, and every house is shut up that no man may come in. Okay, so this shit show of society is now coming to a screeching halt. Okay, and it's being intentionally broken down, you know, to the point to where it's gonna be complete survival mode out here. Okay, and that's where everything is gearing towards survival mode. Everybody is shifting mode. Okay, the party, all right, is ending. The great American party that seemed like it had no end, well, it's ending. Okay, and read verse 11. Then we'll segue to another video. It said this Isaiah 24:11. It said, "There's a crying for wine in the streets, all joy is darkened, and mirth of the land is gone." All right, and their main wine they're going to be crying for is the truth. You know, they're going to be crying for answers. They're going to want a doctrine that you know, that has solutions. Okay, because what they've trusted in is going to fail them. It's going to disappoint them. Okay, and this collapse is happening. See, while people, you know, are focused on this one thing or this thing, this is happening. Okay, and much more. All right, ever since 2020, because a lot of the sharp declines in the economy go back to 2020. Okay, and that's when these devils, you know, really began to implement, okay, these policies, you know, that will create collapse. Okay, now while this is happening, let's check your mans out. Okay, while all this is happening, they say Trump had a ball. Okay,
are going without paychecks, but at Mar-a-Lago this weekend. Plus, this morning, we are entering day 34 of the government shutdown. Millions of Americans no longer have access to food assistance, and federal workers are going without paychecks. But at Mar-a-Lago this weekend, all the opulence of the Roaring '20s was on full display, with President Trump hosting a Great Gatsby-themed party. We will dig into that parallel. Also ahead, we'll play for you what President Trump admitted in a 60 Minutes interview about his pardon for a crypto tycoon who has ties to the Trump family businesses. Good morning and welcome to Morning Joe. It is Monday, November 3rd. With us, we have the co-host of our
people in that room are getting paid for work is being slashed.
And they were the ones who brought the pardon to their father's attention.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the Gatsby themed party. While food stamps are going to be cut, while food assistance is being slashed, while members of Congress and a lot of people in that room are getting paid for working, but they're making sure that federal employees are not getting paid while they work. And all of this opulence at a time when, you know, 2 out of 3 Americans say that Donald Trump is not doing what they thought he was going to do on the economy. And I'm just I'm curious, just on a personal. Do you have any, or has anybody been keeping track of exactly how much Donald Trump and the family have made since he's become president with their cryptocurrency deals? You know, because it used to be where, you know, last term it'd be like, oh well, somebody may have stayed in one of his hotels, and boy, that's murky. And does that you know reach the emoluments clause?
So yeah, man, you see, all right, King Trump, okay, having a Great Gatsby, okay, feast at Mar-a-Lago, man, okay, right, they're getting ready to starve the masses, and these things are done intentional, When you watch the Hunger Games, that's not a figment of Esau's imagination, man. That's what he wants society to be. Okay, the extremely wealthy, okay, and the extremely poor. Okay, this is what the devil is on. So the day of, all right, going into November the 1st, which that was the deadline, okay, or a deadline, one of the deadlines of certain things being cut off, beginning with the snap, and they're having a feast, okay, constantly playing in you people face, man. All right, and you people still, hope and trust in this system, and like scripture says, it's going to be your confusion. Okay, so that was happening. Okay, the same day, all right, that SNAP benefits were due to stop. Okay, and he's having a feast and a ball. Okay, so let's go from there. Let's get a few precepts. And I think the brother got that. Let me see. I think the brother pulled that. Let me see. Yeah, we can go here. We'll end it here. This is the book of Job, chapter 20, verse 4, just from the brother Kazak Bani Howder. Knowest thou not this from old, all right, since man was placed upon earth, because everything we see, all right, has been established from the beginning. We're just seeing these things play out. And Esau, he's playing this part. He's the devil. So you people just going to learn the hard way through suffering that this man is the devil. All right, which the prophet's been warning you through the spirit in Yahweh Shem Shah for decades. Okay, beginning our apostles and elders and their elders, you've been warned about the so-called white man and what he's about. Okay, we told you that for free. So now, all right, as you consistently trusted this man, okay, you're going to find out he's the devil through suffering. Okay, through torments. That's how you're going to find out that this man is the absolute devil. Okay, but it's only for a moment that this devil has a rule, and that's why we have an expectation, beyond everything that's happening. We don't get caught up in the snares and weeds. Okay, we just address these things according to prophecy. All right, and it says Job 20:5. It says that the triumphing of the wicked is short. All right, and the joy of the hypocrite before a moment. Because these devils, okay, they're in their joy, in their rulership. You see, well, he's a hypocrite. Here it is. They sold you this lie of make America great again, but they finna make America starve. Okay, while they feast. You see, which you proud, all right, wicked Americans, you need to starve. Okay, you Edomites, all you nations, all you Americans, man, 2/3. Okay, you need to starve for your pride and arrogance, because you become proud under this man. Okay, and wicked and rebellion against Yahweh Shem Shai. Okay, so the Lord's going to utilize Esau to be the complete devil. Okay, and rain hell and torment on you before he's moved out of the way. His rulership is ended. Okay, Esau's rulership, he's going to end it. Okay, in terror. The legacy of Esau, his last few days of power, is going to be a legacy of terror that the Lord allowed him to reign in the earth, man. Especially here in America. So, that's the point. We'll leave it there. Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified once again. I'm going to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to us younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations, hopefully, Shalom.